That helps at all. It's better with or without the light.
I can't even see the lights on that.
With it on? Is it better?
This is crazy. I'm not going to do that thing. Sure, I can make it out.
Passed around so much. Just...
Learning this from my dad. Yes.
Harriet, Harold Helfon, Betty, and me.
Which one's
2
that?
years old. This one right here.
Oh, yeah, great.
And let's see, well, that was recent mother. And this was at you guys' wedding. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, out in your front yard.
Yeah, I don't know if Betty's seen this yet. And then, let's see, where the one is of our family.
I'm casting my shadow outside.
Oh, go ahead. No, that's fine.
Anyway, yeah. So,
She said that she has all the strength.
Taking some videos.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, this is where our video camera comes in.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get that here next.
I mean, I don't know what you do with that. Right over.
Hey, how you doing? Did you get a shot of two of the girls over here?
So this dude. This dude's that guy. Who's this? To escape?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why do you have to escape? Well, hello.
How do you do this?
Like to say a couple words?
Air conditioning, okay, with air conditioning.
Put it on the change.
Oh, yes.
This is what I'm doing here.
And that'll
Well,
be
this is
just
what I'm doing here. We have a two-pipe system.
She's a, I don't know how to spell. That's
well, he's got these two kids.
Dan.
Just the way I like it. What else is happening?
Can everybody turn around a little bit here?
How much do we sell the videos?
No one is going to watch this.
Okay, everybody. Karen. Good to see you. It's been a long time.
That's a long time.
Think long is.
New York. She does sort of consultation for Pendleton Mills, tries to get them to be more stylish. First they get on the appearance, you know a little bit about New York, has some suggestions.
Is there? Yeah, I will.
because that would, you have to have the car.
What a nice table.
Hi, Leo.
Oh, he has a movie.
So, that's the double connection. Yeah, they met. Sam and Myrtle met at Ophelia and Jacob's wedding. But, so Sam is going for Ophelia and Myrtle is going for Jacob. Right. That makes it 10 times better.
Those children have no guys.
You. No. You're right there. Okay. Who's the children?
Remember, don't think that would happen. Start over again. You have to go back to your parents' doorstep.
Now, it's like every 6 months,
Knock on their door
a couple days.
Son of Sam and Lillian Helpon, the grandson of Sarah and Charles Goodman. And I am just starting this program off tonight to get everybody's attention because I have the loudest voice. All right. The one thing I'd like to do before I leave the microphone is to give credit to the members of our family here who have done such an outstanding job, and I really mean outstanding job. As I understand it, it originated from an idea from Sharon Goodman. Sharon Goodman, who introduced it to my 3 cousins who have been part of my life from here. And they took hold and some of you have already felt the effects of it, but Harriet Goodman put this collection of pictures together that I think is unbelievable. I hope you agree. Harriet Goodman, I'm sorry. Marge Goodman was really the Marge. All right, this is Goodman night, isn't it? I mean, we're not going to get a little technical here if I miss a couple of lines. Marge Salzman really was the quarterback on this. Last night, a lot of you enjoyed her hospitality, and she was the one that got me out of my bed and got me prompted into this program, and I'm appreciative of it. Shirley Goodman is probably the most, Shirley Fischel and Betty Druck are probably the most unseen members of this group, but without their substance and support, we'd never all be here under such wonderful conditions. I was going to start the evening off by introducing the matriarch and matriarch and what? And what? Patriarch and matriarch. But I felt a little guilty inside of my heart because I have a brother who is much, much older than I am that I really can't steal the scene from. So I'd like this time to introduce my brother, Alfred Helpon.
I think that's the first time that Harold has been embarrassed since he beat me in golf after I gave him 10 strokes, I think. He told me about 3 minutes ago that I was going to have the honor of introducing the patriarch of this organization, and the only reason I'm here, of course, is because I'm probably the oldest Helpon probably ever, I imagine. I don't think there's lived any Helpon lived as long as I have, if you call this living. But I think this is one of the greatest ideas that I've ever attended, really. The work that these girls and guys have put into it, I think, is really wonderful. But my real purpose in being here is to introduce one of my best and oldest and dearest friends and relatives that there is. As a matter of fact, Mark Goodman. That's what I'm talking about, incidentally, if you didn't know. Do you not know where Helpon? I'm sorry, am I supposed to introduce someone to me? I didn't know my duty. I thought I had an exclusive on Mark Goodman. I could go on for years about Myrtle, for heaven's sake. I used to be in love with Myrtle. I remember, really, Myrtle and Sam were of course, a little older than I was, but they were two of the most beautiful people in the world. And seeing Myrtle here now is one of the greatest thrills of my life. So I will not call you a matriarch. I'll just say Myrtle. I'll talk about, because this guy was responsible, undoubtedly, for my going into medicine. I made one big mistake, though. I should never have followed him in medical school. That'd be like Jack Nicklaus's son playing golf with Jack Nicklaus. Being here following in Mort's footsteps in medical school was probably, well, his brother Lou didn't hurt either, but that was really something. I don't know if all of you know some of the things I know about Mort, all the things that some of the things how he influenced my life, at least. Did you know he used to be an ice cream salesman? Did you ever know that? Yeah, he used to be a good humor. Well, it wasn't good humor, but he used to sell ice cream. Then he went really first class and became a chef. He was at the Seaside Hotel, was the salad chef at the Seaside Hotel. I've very few people do that. Did you make the salad tonight, Mark? Yeah. Mort, believe it or not, the only time I ever went to Sunday school, he was my Sunday school teacher. Yes, that's true.
He just couldn't get away from it.
Yeah. And then when I went to medical school, he taught surgical anatomy. How an internist would teach you surgical anatomy, I don't know. But anyway, you'll explain that when you get up here, won't you? Well, I'll tell you, that was just a little reminiscing. It gives me the greatest pleasure in the world here to be able to stand here and to introduce this guy who did so much for medicine in this country, really. I'm sure all of you know he was undoubtedly the outstanding internist in Oregon and probably the Northwest. I won't include Los Angeles in that because he told me, if you don't go down to Los Angeles, that's the lousiest place. That'll never amount to anything. But I won't go into that. Mort, you want to take over this microphone and carry it on for it?
Glad to get this show on the road. At my age, we don't have much time. Claude Pepper, Senator Claude Pepper used to say that. He said, when he went to the market, he never bought green bananas. He was 90 years old. He was right. He died 3 weeks later. Al, Lou takes the credit for you going to medical school.
Raise the microphone.
And not only that, can you hear me?
Raise the microphone.
Put a little bit more in your mouth.
Lou says that he taught you Hebrew, and he taught you to play chess, and he influenced you to go to Reed College and to medical school. He takes the credit for it. There's enough credit to go around, we both use it. Well, to see this whole mishpocha and machatonim, do you know the difference between them? A mishpocha, these are Hebrew words, Yiddish. Mishpacha is the family, the blood-related family. Machatonim are the in-laws. Now this isn't a strict division because there's an overlapping of it. And the Mishpacha actually has some kind of distinctive honorary overtones to it, whereas the relatives by marriage is a little different story. It's slightly pejorative, not necessarily, but the division between Mishpacha and Machatonim has bothered lexicographers for a long time, and Leo Rustin, who writes the book Joys of Yiddish, says that he solved the dilemma by using the word clan, C-L-A-N, not K. So hi, clan. I don't quite know the logistics of what we'll do here tonight, but I think the simplest thing is for me to show a series of slides and talk from them. Many of the slides are records of the ones that you see on the charts around here. And I can make a few comments, ask you a few questions. And George, is that being set up for that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's all set.
It's all set.
If you want to stay there.
I have about 30 or 40 slides. Pardon? Oh, I have a slide on family. I hope each of you has taken one of those copies of the family tree, the genealogical tree that is out there. And if you have it before you, I'd like to walk you through this thing with you as I show the slides on the screen to identify the various people here. I think it'll make it more helpful for you and a little more fun. I hope each of you has access to it. I wouldn't turn the lights out too much because then you can't read the chart. And I think it's more turn it on and see how it works. I'm sure you can't read. Michael. These are the three Goodman brothers that came over to this country in the 1890s, about 100 years ago this year. 100 years ago, 1 century. And they came over because they left Latvia under the pressure of the draft, the army. In those days, let me show slide 2, and then we'll come back to this. Can I do that, George, please? Yeah, focus that. This is not a very clear map, but I'd like to show you something here.
You raise it.
Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Pardon?
You gotta speak up. You can take the mic.
Oh, yeah. That's better. Focus it now.
How do you focus it?
These Baltic states have been in the news a lot the last few months. There is Estonia, here's Latvia, and here's Lithuania. This family generated in Latvia. This is the Gulf of Riga. There's Sweden, Norway, Finland. And this is the Gulf of Riga that leads out into the Baltic Sea. Now, Riga is the largest city in Latvia. It's about 500,000 people. And about 100 kilometers northwest of Riga is a town called, I can't pronounce it very well. George, you remember what it is? No, wait a second. Here it is. It's called Valdimarpils, V-A-L-D-E-M-A-R-P-I-L-S. George found it in some of the genealogical maps he has. Valdimarpil used to be called Sasman. And Sasman is the town from which these three brothers came. This was in 100 years ago. They left because any boy approaching 20 years old was threatened with going into the army, and he would be drafted and often kept there for 20 years. There were 3 ways that the young men would escape the draft most easily. One was to have an injury to the trigger finger. If they had a hand deformity or an injury, they couldn't shoot the gun, so they would be excluded from the draft. The second way is to have a foot injury, and the common thing was to shoot off one of the toes. And the third thing was to escape. And these 3 brothers escaped and left Latvia when they were 18 and 19 years old and came over to this country. Herman, the older one. Now let's get back to the diagram, George. Herman is up in the upper left-hand corner. He sort of evaporated into obscurity. I don't know what happened there. He wasn't very close to the family. I remember the people. I remember his wife, Minnie. The 2 of them lived in the old folks' home, which is on 4th and College Street. There were about 8 or 10 people there prior to the formation of the Robinson home. And I remember going over there to visit Herman. Herman had 4 children. The one on the left is Esther, way off in the corner. And Esther was ill. She married Jake Rosenberg. Her son was ill. The 2 of them lived in the state hospital. And the other children here, Norma and Henrietta. Norma I don't remember, but Henrietta I do. I couldn't forget her. She was albino. She had low pigment in her skin, white hair, red eyes, and most of these people have a congenital nystagmus. The eyes jerk back and forth very violently. They can see and focus pretty well, but they can't stop their movement of the eyes. And a number of years ago, I came across her. I met her. She's the only white albino woman I've ever met. So I knew it was she. I talked to her, and we commiserated and so on. And I don't know whether she's alive now. Probably not. The rest of them I know nothing about. The brothers weren't very close. Pardon?
Was there a wild woman?
I'll tell you about wild women. No. I don't know of any wild women. No, she wasn't a white hair. No, she was white hair, but she was old. She had gray hair. That's anti-wild. The next one, Charles, was the progenitor of this whole group here. And on the right is, focus a little better, George. Joe is the youngest of the three brothers. Herman came over first. Joe and Charles came over about the second time. Charles went to Alpena, Michigan, and lived with a cousin of his who taught him watchmaking. Joe came over and visited his brother Herman and lived with him in Portland. And now I'll follow